On my 29th birthday, my family laughed and said they had more important plans, so I posted a picture of my beautiful party thanking my real family. And when they saw it, they lost their minds, while I finally stopped begging for their love. Hey Reddit, I'm Leia, 29, and that's how my birthday turned into the moment I finally stopped begging for the love I had always wanted. It started off like any other birthday. I didn't expect anything extravagant, just our usual small family dinner. I reminded everyone a week ahead and even shot out a group text that day letting them know dinner was at 7 o'clock. I decorated my little apartment with string lights and candles, ordered takeout from my favorite Thai place, had a cake ready, and bought a bottle of wine that I knew my mom enjoyed. The table was set for 6. By 7:15, I sent a text saying, "Running late." No response. At 7:45, I called my mom, and she actually laughed. "Oh, sweetie," she said with that familiar, dismissive tone. "We have more important plans. Your sister's friend got us box seats for a concert, which is a once-in-a-lifetime chance." In the background, I could hear my sister giggling, probably thinking we'd pick a boring dinner over an exciting concert. I just stood there, frozen, didn't say a word, and hang up. Looking around the quiet room at the untouched table and the birthday candles slowly melting, that lump in my throat shifted into something else. Not sadness or shock, just determination. I snapped a picture of the table, cropped it so the empty chairs wouldn't show, and posted it online, thanking those who really showed up for me that day. It was vague, but packed with emotion. Friends and acquaintances flooded my comments with birthday wishes. "Happy birthday, Queen. You deserve better. Let's plan something together." Then a few hours later, my phone lit up with missed calls, voicemails, and texts from my parents. They were upset, saying I made them look bad. They called me petty and manipulative, making drama for no reason. By 10 p.m., they were knocking on my door, angry and not apologetic. "We're your family," my dad snapped. "You don't embarrass us over something so small." I didn't let them in that night because I realized they weren't family, not the kind that mattered. The next morning, I woke up to chaos, not just on my phone but on social media too. My birthday post had been shared multiple times and suddenly people from our community were commenting. Some tagged my mom, while others messaged me privately with their own family stories. It was overwhelming but oddly validating. By noon, my sister posted a boomerang from the concert with the caption, "Priorities. Some will never understand." Mom then put up a story that said, "Manipulation disguised as pain is still manipulation. We don't play victim in this house." I chose not to respond. The silence was loud enough. Surprisingly, that afternoon, Aunt Marlene, my mom's older sister whom I'd never been close to, called me. She sounded like she didn't want anyone to overhear. "Leia, I saw the post. I had no idea they treated you like that. That's terrible. I would have come if I'd known." I barely said much, just thanked her. But it hit me there were people who didn't side with them. Later that night, my parents showed up again, this time with cake and flowers. Mom's tone was almost sweet, though forced. "Let's not make this a bigger issue, darling. We didn't know you'd take it so personally." I didn't open the door, but replied through the intercom. "I took it exactly how you meant it. Dad tried to act like a peacemaker. You're being dramatic. You had your little moment online. Now let's just move past it." Hearing the word dramatic fired me up. I've always been seen as too emotional, too sensitive, too much. But this time, I stood my ground. "You chose to be somewhere else. You made that decision." I just shared the truth. They left in a huff. 10 minutes later, my sister texted, "Wow, you think you're the main character now?" I didn't reply. Sitting in my quiet apartment, I poured myself a glass of wine and made a list, not of revenge, but of boundaries. I didn't expect things to escalate after that night. I hoped my silence would be enough, that they'd feel ashamed and reflect. Instead, they responded with retaliation and lies. It started with a public Facebook post from my mom, no warning. "Raising kids is a thankless job. We've sacrificed so much, and all we get in return is a slap in the face. One missed dinner, and we're suddenly monsters." Comments flooded in, with pity from her friends. You're such a strong mother. She'll understand one day. I didn't respond but saved every comment as a reminder of how they twisted reality. A few days later, I received a message from my childhood best friend Jenna, who now lived out of state. Hey, is everything okay? Your mom sent me this long message saying you're going through something and asked if I could reach out. She said you're having emotional episodes and lashing out at the family. I felt sick. I hadn't told Jenna anything, and my mom was running a whisper campaign to make me seem unstable. This was the same tactic she used when I moved out and refused to help with my sister's bills.
But I wasn't going to stay quiet this time.
I sent Jenna screenshots of everything, the dinner table photo, the post, even my sister's messages. Jenna replied with one word, wow. That led to a phone call, then a group chat with two other old friends who had distanced from me because of my mom's constant poison. I thought you didn't like me anymore, one said. Your mom made it sound like you were a mess. Just like that, the real leak had started, an emotional outpouring that reached places it had never gone before. I calmly told them everything, no exaggeration, about the years of being labeled as too much. I talked about how my birthdays faded into the background unless they needed something. I mentioned all the times I helped pay their bills when my dad's hours were cut, how they praised my sister's mediocre art shows while ignoring my promotions. And then came the final lie. A family friend named Mrs. Singh, someone I admired, called me. Did you really call your mom and scream at her on her birthday? She's saying you cursed her out and told her she was dead to you. I blinked in shock. Her birthday is next week. Mrs. Singh fell silent, and I realized my mom was building a case where she was the victim and I was the villain. This time I had evidence. I updated the caption on my birthday post. When people lie about you, make up stories, and twist the truth, don't argue or yell. Just shine a brighter light. Liars panic in daylight. That post took off. DMs flooded in from classmates, ex-colleagues, and even my cousin from my dad's side I hadn't spoken to in 5 years, all saying the same thing. I always wondered why they treated you that way. An invitation came through my dad, not my mom. He simply texted, "Let's talk." Sunday dinner, just us. No drama. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to throw my phone away and enjoy my peaceful life without them. But another part, like a flicker of hope, wanted to hear them out. Maybe they realized their mistakes. I wore a simple outfit, didn't bother dressing up, and arrived 5 minutes late on purpose. The moment I walked in, I felt it. The tension, the forced smiles. Mom had cooked my favorite dish, butter chicken and garlic naan, a nostalgic trap. We sat in silence for a minute before Mom broke it. So, are you done with your little attention-seeking phase? I blinked and laughed softly. That's your opener. She rolled her eyes. You've embarrassed us publicly. You know what that does to our reputation. Dad tried to soften things by saying they just wanted to move on. That's when I realized. They weren't sorry for what they did. They were upset it got exposed. I gazed at them, calm and steady. If you want to move past this, then you need to admit it. Admit you forgot my birthday and laughed about it. Admit you lied to our friends and that you've made me feel small for years, calling it tough love. Silence filled the room. Mom scoffed. You're so dramatic. Everything is always about you. I stood up. No, it's always been about making you look good. I've protected your image while you chipped away at me. I paid your bills, covered your lies, and showed up to every event where you introduced me as the one who never settled down, like I was a disappointment. Dad's voice dropped. Now you're blowing this out of proportion. I turned to him. I used to believe that I was too sensitive. But now I see it clearly, and I'm done pretending. Mom crossed her arms. So what now? You're cutting us off. I looked at her, a woman who could twist the truth into guilt like a magician. I'm not cutting you off. I'm just done chasing you. If you want a relationship, you need to build it on honesty and respect. Until then, consider the silence a boundary. I walked out. The next morning, I decided to block their numbers, not because I hated them, but to protect my own peace. The days that followed felt surprisingly calm, as if I'd finally closed the door on a really toxic situation. And honestly, I didn't miss the drama, the pretending, or those birthdays where I felt more like a burden than a blessing. That weekend, I celebrated again with friends who showed up for me and loved me without any strings attached. We laughed, we danced, and when someone made a toast to me, I felt a sense of freedom. A couple of weeks later, I heard from a cousin that the family group chat was buzzing. Apparently, I was being called brainwashed, cruel, and ungrateful. They can say whatever they want. I've learned that peace doesn't need anyone's approval, and love that comes with conditions isn't really love at all. Have you ever had to cut ties with a toxic family member? Share your story in the comments, and let me know where you're tuning in from. Thanks for sticking till around the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and stay tuned for more stories like this on Family Reddit Tales.